Welcome, everyone, to the Drippin' G podcast. I'm your host, Uncle G, and with me, his host, Media Gaming. Record this podcast live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can listen to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also become a member of this podcast, get extra podcast content every single month. And I almost said Thursday, which that's funny. It's been literally over a year now since we've done it on Thursdays.
It's been a while.
And I almost introduced a different guest, except for I can't introduce another guest because the Switch 2 remains absent from our tweets and our hearts. Drip, how you doing this week?
I'm doing great. Fantastic.
You
not
are?
putting stock in this, man. I'm not. I'm just watching. I'm on the sidelines, watching, waiting, seeing what comes of this, but I'm not getting myself too excited. I've been victim of that way too many times, and at this point, if it happens, that's great. I'm so excited. I can't wait to look at it and see what it is. But if it doesn't, the sun will come up tomorrow.
The sun will come out tomorrow.
The snow will fall. The snow will continue to fall over here, at least. Dude, we're getting crazy.
That's a good
I don't know about you guys over there.
That's a good band name. The snow will fall. Everybody, here is The Snow Will Fall. That's a good band name. Yeah. Huh? Oh, I thought you were going to give me cheers. I was like, yeah.
No. Speaking of the snow, though, for real, this is nuts. Usually it's you where you're at.
Yeah, no.
You're just getting crazy amounts of snow. Dude, we got another 6 inches last night. We're supposed to get another 6 to 10 tomorrow, all day. My kid hasn't been to school.
Wait, Drip. I'm sorry. We got breaking news from the chat. Hit the button, Drip. Breaking news. Breaking news.
Stop. Hold on.
Breaking news.
Everybody ready? Hang on.
Breaking news from the chat from Galaxy Kid. Breaking. The Switch 2 will be revealed on October 32nd, 2026. Just kidding. However though, Drip, I have on my monitor here, Nintendo of America and the Nintendo Japanese account pulled up, refreshing every now and again. Actually, I'll show you guys right now on the show. I have it pulled up, and I just refreshed just a second ago. And the last tweet, as of 8:24 Eastern Time, Nintendo America has tweeted 20-something minutes ago about Donkey Kong. Not about the Switch 2. There have been some reports
24 minutes ago at 8 o'clock.
There you go. There have been some reports out there that, well, I shouldn't say reports. Some people speculating that 8:30 could be the time where they could say that tomorrow there'll be an event.
Can you explain that for the people who don't know? Can you explain it to me before we started? I didn't realize all that.
When the Switch was still the NX, they announced that the NX will have its event at 8:30 Eastern Time. So that happened.
Yeah, so whenever we were getting the Switch, that would have been October, 2016?
Yep.
It was an 8:30 tweet.
Yep.
That said that the event would happen the next day, correct?
That's correct. And also recently, what was the other example? There was one more example. It was less significant.
When they told us that this thing was going to be released before the end of this fiscal year.
That is correct.
That was also at 8:30.
That was at 8:26, not 8:30. For whatever that's worth.
Well, it's 1 minute from 8:26 right now. So
that's right. So, yeah, we're just kind of waiting. This show is not going to be us simply waiting. Of course, we're not going to just sit here quietly the entire time. That wasn't our plan, right, Drip?
No, we definitely don't have two shows planned and are waiting to see what happens at 8:30 to figure out which show we're going to go with. That's definitely not what's happening right now. Not at all. Not even a little bit.
No. We're actually going to be waiting, though, to see what happens. And after 8:30, we'll kind of call it time of death. And actually, that's 5 minutes from this word spoken in my mouth right now. So in 5 minutes, we'll kind of call the time of death for the Switch 2 in January. Because, of course, it's not happening. If it's not happening tomorrow, it's not going to happen Friday either. I mean, that's pretty obvious.
No, they don't do things. Nintendo just doesn't do things on Friday.
They're not going to.
The sweet spot for them is that Wednesday, Thursday. And it works worldwide. That's why they do it on those days.
Yeah, and next week is the U.S. inauguration of the next president of the United States, and they're not going to touch that because even though it's just to us here, applicable to us in America, it is still a worldwide significant event. So Nintendo does not do that. They don't conflict with that kind of stuff.
No, they don't. And actually, that was something very cool to hear from, Kit and Krista when they talk about on their channel, like things.
They confirmed it. Yeah.
Whenever people were excited about this, what was it, October?
Yep.
They actually put out an episode sometime after that, and they were talking about, like we helped line up these dates, like when these things would happen, and that was always something like elections, anything like that happen. Like those dates are just, you don't do that. So next week's out. It's definitely not happening next week. There's too much stuff going on. But you know what's crazy? And I know you've already brought this up, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more. Like, how is it even this week? Like, I know there's still, like, even if they don't say anything tonight, there's still a possibility.
Yeah.
For tomorrow. But how? Like,
yeah,
you mentioned it, but it's like
this week was already kind of questionable. At least the Thursday date, especially, or should I say, especially the Thursday date,
especially
because how many times do we talk about, Drip? How many times do we talk about the fact that Nintendo doesn't do things if there's a game coming out the same week?
They don't. They normally don't.
Normally?
Like, honestly.
Never. Give me one. I would love for so many things in the internet to give me one example where there was any sort of minor significant announcement, let alone a big significant announcement like the next generation of system, during the week where you're already trying to release and sell a game, let alone the same day. Why would you release a new console the same day?
Of the console that's taking it. It is a little weird, but I'm pretty sure if you look back, I may be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure in this time frame in 2016, there was a game coming out too, but it was a 3DS game, I believe.
Oh, in 2016, so.
Yeah.
That was pre-Switch era stuff.
And that's actually a good thing to sit here and wonder too. Because we've seen them, they do care at this point. Their investors meetings, that's when we've got all this information. Every time they've told us something, it's been either during or right before or directly after where they're doing their investors meetings.
Yep.
Like we got the announcement that it was going to be this fiscal year during one of their investors meetings. We got the announcement that it's going to be backwards compatible. Also, investors meeting. That investors meeting, the next one is on February 4th. Spartan, thank you for that. I appreciate that. It is on February 4th. So, in
literally days from now.
I mean, in all of our research we just unpacked here, if it's not tomorrow, then it's after February 4th. So they're going to be walking into their investors meeting for the first time in a long time with nothing. Literally nothing. That, I don't really see that.
Or Drip, they talk about things internally. Although those things are publicized, though.
Yeah, all that stuff's public.
They might talk about some stuff vaguely without giving any specifics. They might talk about stuff. Mainly games is my guess. They could be like, we have games lined up and events lined up in the coming days. Like that, I could see something like that happening. And I also could see Nintendo definitely not releasing the system before then, because Nintendo is cocky. And Nintendo will go, yeah, investors, we know there's nothing to talk about right now, but just wait, because you'll wait.
Yeah,
and you're not going to leave us.
I don't think
you're not going to leave us investors. Well, think about it. They would never leave the Nintendo investors. I'm sorry, the Nintendo investors would never leave Nintendo. I mean,
they might.
This. No, they won't.
They seem a little bit more invested in the investors at this point, though. Like they do.
It would be a bad investment, is what I'm trying to get at. Because as an investor, we all know it's coming. Why would you bail out right before?
Well, you wouldn't, but you still got to try to.
If anything, you'd bail out right after the announcement when the things go boop. All your stock prices go boop because the thing got announced, and then you bail out, because that's how investing goes. You sell high. So
I mean, that's true.
So why would they sell low right now? Not that it would be low, of course.
They wouldn't, but I mean, they still want to go in there and, I mean, they want to give these people, a reason to be like, yeah, okay, that's awesome, that's great.
Hit the button, Drip. I'm refreshing the browser. It's 8:30. I'm refreshing the browser. And Nintendo of America at 8:30 Eastern has tweeted nothing. I'll give it like one more minute for buffer, but
okay,
it's nothing's been tweeted. I'm looking at both of their accounts, the Japanese account.
All right. Well, hey, we know what show we're going with now. I think we know what show we're going with now.
I mean, it's a show that I was already very highly planning on doing anyway.
Yeah, this was the one. And I really hate to. I don't know. We'll give them a minute, but then we'll get into it because I mean, there's a lot of stuff with this that we can try to unpack here.
Oh,
this doesn't mean
it's been a minute.
This does not mean that tomorrow is just dead.
No, and let's
By
talk about
no means.
Let's talk about that for you. Go ahead and talk about that.
Okay, I mean,
what tomorrow could look like. You know, you mentioned to me earlier.
It could be. I mean, think about this. It could look like, let's say, we got nothing tonight. I think we're gonna probably go ahead and say, we are at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to call the time of death here at 8:31 Eastern Standard Time on January 15th, 2025, that the Switch 2 is not going to be announced in January, as reported by literally everybody and their mother.
Now, hold on. Whoa. We don't know that yet.
I'm calling it.
I will say this. I'll say this. It is very strange to me. It is very strange to me that if this is coming tomorrow, not saying that it's impossible, it could still be coming tomorrow. But it's very strange to me that they're not at least priming people to be ready for it. Yeah. This is a big event. This is not just we've got a Switch Lite or, we've got the Switch OLED, because that's what those were. Those were 10 a.m., 9 a.m., whatever time it was, just trailers on YouTube, Twitter, wherever they went, all of them just went up like that. That's an iteration on the same console. This is a big deal. I mean, the marketing's already there, though. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like they've got to explain what this thing is again. They know what it is. Clearly, we've seen the logo. It's a big Switch symbol with a 2 beside it. It's going to pretty much explain itself.
I'll keep going, but I just want to laugh at something for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of these logo renders that's come out, number one, of course, they're basic and anybody could make them. But that's probably what it's going to be if it is called the Switch 2. It's going to be very basic like that. I guarantee it. But the thing is about those logos I've seen, a lot of them where people are saying, for sure, 100%, my sources. Like the words are used, my sources. And the logo they show, it's literally not symmetric. And it doesn't take anybody with any special eye to see.
I noticed that
a lot
it's
of
on
these,
every one of them. I saw one that was supposedly on the back of the actual Switch itself, but it still looks like that, where the 2 and the logo hang over the bottom where it says Nintendo Switch.
Because they're fake. They're not real.
Well, I mean, I don't know. What if it is real? And it like, that bothers me. I don't know if that's like my weird ADHD, like picking it apart. I don't know what the fuck it is, but like the fact that 2 and the other side of the Switch logo hang over the words Nintendo Switch, just like a little, oh my God. I was like, can't be real. There's no way they'd put that out, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. Who knows? I don't know. Okay, let's go back to what we're talking about here, though.
Yeah.
So let's just say that they're banking on the fact that everybody already knows what the Switch is. We don't need to prime people for this. And I mean, maybe they are looking around right now. Like us sitting here talking about this, everyone else on the internet, especially right now, because that was the last that was like the last hope, the 8:30 thing, right?
Yeah.
That was the last little straw people could grasp at. Well, maybe you know what I mean? That was it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe they are just banking on the fact that everyone knows everything leaked. They're just banking on the fact that everybody's going to be looking for it tomorrow, and it's already hyped up, and they don't have to do anything else. Because clearly, as we talked about a little bit earlier, they are upset from what we've seen. They are upset.
Yeah, I got this little post here on Twitter, which I can't confirm that this is Kit and Krista specifically.
Was that their job? I don't know if that was their job.
I thought that sounded like at least part of their job. But either way, IGN tweets 2 former Nintendo PR managers. I'm suspecting it's Kit and Krista because I feel like it's something they would say. Managers said that the Switch 2 leaks have likely led to a, quote, high stress situation at the company, saying it's, quote, it's a highly chaotic situation in there right now, and it's a real pressure cooker. So, yeah, Nintendo's really angry right now, which I'm not surprised that they're angry because at least again, this is just a report on potential reports that aren't real, but assuming that everything has come out that we think is real, and this is a real report, yeah, of course they're going to be angry because what they've been working on for literally 5-6 years, maybe the entirety of the Switch's life, has been leaked. Yeah, when
they've lost that surprise, they've lost the thing that Nintendo always loves to do, is just drop the thing on us and everybody gets shocked. They've lost it.
Can I say that I disagree with the fact that we've lost the shock? for two reasons.
No, I mean, I'm
for
still pumped.
For multiple reasons. Number one, yeah, we know there's a C button, but what does it do? Number two,
we know. That was also leaked today.
Number two, we don't know for sure what the hardware looks like, even though there are some very convincing looking images. That does not mean that they're right. So it's possible. Right. It's possible that these are just what they probably will look like, or at least close to what they look like, but they're not quite exactly what they're going to look like. And number three, the C button, but the features and games we know nothing about. So all those things make it for me that we're going to be surprised. I'm not going to be surprised about the hardware because we already knew it was going to be a better Switch. In fact, it would be mind-boggling if it wasn't just another looking Switch. It looks just like if you were to if I were to ask my fiance to look at one of these images, one of these renders, and go, "What's different about this from the regular Switch?" Don't overanalyze it. Just tell me what's different. She'd be like, "I don't know." There's
the color.
Maybe if I point in her direction, the color maybe. But if I just point in her direction, there's an extra button there over there, isn't there? And she'd be like, yeah. And that'd be it. Like, this thing is very similar to the original Switch in terms of just like basic looks. And without scale of one original next to the new one, you never know how much bigger it is. So it's not like we were ever going to have a moment with the Switch 2 of like, whoa, this is crazy. How could they do something so crazy? Just visually. There's no way. So, and that's all we know. That's all we know just visually. Maybe some parts inside of the thing. I think people are wildly all over the place. I've heard that it's at the level, power-wise, it's at the level of the PS4. I've heard it's at the level of the PS4 Pro. I've recently heard that people are saying it's at the level above where it's like at PS5, Xbox Series X level. And I'm like, we've heard it all. So what is it going to be? We don't actually know what it's going to be.
Well, have you been following things today? Last night, just some recent things that have come out.
Yeah, I mean, but there's so much coming out. It's kind of my point here. It's like there's so much coming out.
There's a lot coming out. Yeah.
So like, what have you heard?
The C button. Now we know what that is now. Supposedly there are people who have.
We know what it is.
We know what it is. Yes,
we don't know.
We know what it is. We know what it is. It's basically chat features.
I heard that.
It's voice chat. It's group chat. You can have there were specifics in it. 12 people in one group chat, up to 12 people. Looks like it's going to be tied to Nintendo Switch Online, which isn't really a shocker if that's what it is. And the button is basically just to pull up your menu to get into chats and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which honestly
makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And if that's what it is, cool. Like, that's fine. It's I don't know, 10 15 years too late, but it's fine. I'm glad it's got it. I'm glad it's got it now. That's cool. I mean, I hope that's what it is, because I can tell you this: it's not going to be the cast like we wanted. It's not going to be the cast of the TV and have the dual screen. It's just not.
Yeah.
I don't think the dock, from what we've seen, if this is real, I don't think that dock has enough inside of it.
Can I say something, Drip? Can I say that I still don't believe the actual pictures that we think that are good fakes? I admit that they're good fakes if they're fakes, but I still don't believe them because I've seen two iterations. One's been 3D render and one's been acting as a real Switch render or as a real Switch product. The one is the one where the guy from Twitter is like, hey, or the guy from Reddit's like, hey, I have a Switch, I'm holding it hostage. Yeah. And they released the image and they said it's a smaller version of the original dock. And we argued about that last week. You can listen to last week's show if you want to find out the details about that. But what we can't deny is that dock is a different dock than the 3D rendered dock that we saw from the tweeted out by Mike Odyssey. Those are two different docks. So now we're getting two different docks.
Well, hold on. Let me add to that. Now, because I was telling you, like, oh, well, maybe he's saying shorter because it said the front was supposed to be shorter. Because on a lot of these renders and on whatever, that's what we were seeing. And then, if you're seeing like just a picture, you're like, oh, it's you don't know the size scale, which that was my argument last week. But now we're seeing new renders or actual what are supposedly photos, and the front of the dock is the same height as the back. So we're getting two different things there too.
Yeah. So I fully believe that we still have not seen a Switch in the wild. And we have definitely not seen an accurate finalized version of the Switch product, production line, Switch. We have not seen that yet. Although we've seen some really good potential fakes or prototypes, we still have not seen the final device. And I can tell you that for sure, because if we were to have seen one of those line units where it's ready to go, production line units, the box would have already been out there. That's one of the first things that would have been leaked. I think is a crappy image of a box.
We got that with the Zelda.
We did get that with the Zelda one.
We did.
And there was potential, was that fake image or not? And we kind of debunked it that no, it was a real image. Like you, based off the lighting.
I could tell. Yeah, you could tell, especially when you go in.
Yeah,
the way the light was, you could see the ripples in the cart. Like there's no way that was faked. And if it was, damn, holy shit.
So if there was a production line switch too, we would have seen we would have seen the box, and we haven't seen the box. So I'm convinced that we haven't seen this thing yet. We may have the renders. But we don't. It's hard to tell what about the renders is true and what is not. If it is all fake or all true, no, we just don't know. I think there's a lot of channels out there right now, guys, that are trying to sell you otherwise. They're trying to sell you that, well, at the best case scenario, they're going, well, at least we've seen it in one way or another. We just don't know what's what yet. And I am one to tell you that I don't believe that. I don't believe that we've definitely seen the Switch 2 yet. Don't get me wrong. I think these renders that we've seen recently, especially the ones we talked about last week, through Satisfy, D Brands, and recently Genki. Don't get me wrong, I believe that to be the real thing, but I don't think we've seen snap picture, real life.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
Of a Switch 2.
Either way, we kind of lost track of what we were doing here. Let's have an idea of what tomorrow could still look like. Let's just get that out there.
All right,
because. Again, just because they didn't say anything tonight, that's kind of what I was going off of, and we kind of went on a tangent there. That doesn't mean that there's nothing tomorrow for sure. Right. I mean, I would say, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I will say that right now. I want this tomorrow badly. I want to see it 10 a.m., a trailer go up to show us what it looks like, when we're getting more information on it, and when it's going to be released. That's all I need. Just show it to me. God, I can make 50 videos about it. Just show me the damn thing. That's all I want to do. I just need to see it. So I think there's still a very, very, there's a very good possibility that they don't need to hype this up. That's kind of what I was getting at. Everything that's happening right now with all this stuff, they're mad about those leaks. That's kind of where I was going with this. They're mad about these leaks, but they know they're out there. They're aware that they're out there. It's not like it's a secret. It's not like we don't know that Nintendo is looking at this and pissed. So at this point, they probably don't really need to hype this up and say, hey, the thing is going to be shown tomorrow, especially now that we know that if this is real, that this is also leaked and out there for everyone. The entire internet has just adopted that, yes, tomorrow is the day. And we're going to get to that because that's fucking weird too. We're going to get to that. But so maybe they are just in the mindset of, we can do this how we did the Switch Lite. We can do this how we did the Switch OLED, and just drop it. Just drop the stuff. Tell them we're going to give them more information later. This is just the preview. This is just this is literally just the first teaser trailer. Yeah. If you're looking at it in like a movie standpoint, dropping the teaser trailer. You get the full trailer. I don't know. Later, early next month? I don't know. Because, that's the thing, too. I kind of want to go into that before we talk about everybody just believing this. The timeline does look good for this. That's the thing. Like, everybody's saying, like, oh, this is it, which, again, I really want to talk about that. So if this is it, the timeline does work out really well. Because if you do it now, you show what it is. And we've heard whatever, what's his name? Nate the Hate said that it's going to focus mostly on the hardware. Nothing really about software, maybe something on the screen, but he said he doesn't really know about that, whatever. So if it is, that kind of sets up, okay, it's a little bit down the road, but that also sets up a direct for February to really just lay all this out, like game. And some of the leaks that are coming out, third-party stuff, looks like, that would be a heavy hitter direct, like absolutely heavy hitter. Just third party alone. We don't even know what Nintendo has first party.
Yeah.
So that lines up. And then let's say it is a quick turnaround. You get maybe the next month dropped. I think it's a little too early at this point now. April, May looks more feasible if they're going to do a quick turnaround. But, God, you're getting this thing out of the way tomorrow. Direct. Showing the games. Then in March, let's say March 10th for Mario Day, we get the first look at the new Mario game and the rest of the information, or maybe they do that in February too. Maybe we get a little bit more information about it in February. I don't know what the timeline looks like with all of it. I just feel like that direct in February, right after knowing that there's a Switch 2, and then them just giving us a full on, just one of the best directs we may have ever seen, especially with third party stuff. Right after that, like that would be, I feel like that would be the ideal scenario.
Yeah. Let's talk about that it's not tomorrow.
If it's not tomorrow.
If it's not tomorrow. Whether that is just a little trailer drop, or even they could do anything, but they could also do, hey, there is a Nintendo Direct. And this could happen tomorrow or anytime. But here, Mega Boyd in our Discord brought this up earlier. If you guys are not in the Discord, please make sure to hop in there. Links are in the description down below. We have a good time over there talking to you guys. Mega Boyd brought up in our Discord that what if they just announced it a Direct? I mean, think about that. We haven't had a Direct in how many months? We're way overdue for a Direct. What if what if instead of going right for the jugular Switch 2 announcement, or at least an announcement for an announcement Switch 2, what if they just go right to Direct and keep the mystery going? And they go, here's a Direct, and they do a normal Direct where they announce games. All games, of course, will be for both platforms. Regular Switch and Switch 2, they just don't tell you that part yet. And at the end of the Direct, they drop the teaser trailer that we think they're going to drop, and then tell us more information to come.
It's possible.
That's the thing. Honestly,
we don't know how they're going to do this.
I believe that is the most likely option at this point because of how late we are in January. Because next week is a wash, so it's not happening next week. So January's over as of basically now, but definitely tomorrow. January's over for this. I think February.
If it's not tomorrow, it's not this month.
I think they drop a Direct sometime anytime really in February, and at the end of it, they go, here's just a little nugget teaser trailer and more information to come later. They only have to talk about this thing before March 31st. They don't have to release the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So by talking about it in a February Direct is getting that out of the way. And then, let's say a couple months after that, that'd be a very long time. X amount of time after that, February Direct, we get the thing they say we're going to get, which is some sort of more information about the Switch 2.
Later in the month. Probably a 2-week window after that.
And then we get a release date, and 2 months after that, the thing comes out.
Which we've seen them do that type of thing. And I do want to I want to read something in the chat here. Josh Brown asks, has anything ever been announced at or around midnight the night before? Yes, there has. I was actually talking to Jeeve about that earlier. They did announce this was weird situations all over, but during the pandemic, right in the start of the pandemic, they announced a Direct at midnight the night before, and I think it was an early Direct too. It was like 10 o'clock, like 10 a.m., 9 or 10 a.m. It was early. So yeah, that's the only time I've ever seen them do anything like that. I doubt we're going to see, I highly doubt we're going to see anything after 8 o'clock tonight. We're done. I mean, if it's going to happen, they're just going to put it out tomorrow at some point. And my guess would be if it's not out tomorrow at 10 Eastern, it ain't coming, I don't think. And I hate to be putting it, that's their time. Like, that is their time when they do stuff like that. It is 10.
Because it works. It's the time, 10 a.m. Eastern. It's a good time around the world. Just about for every time zone at some point, that's a decent time to be talking about. It's early for us in the United States, but it's not as early in the rest of the world. So, I mean,
right.
But it is still a time where people should be awake. At the earliest in the United States, it's like 7 a.m., right? Which isn't crazy early. It's early, but at least you should be awake by then, or at least you could be awake by then.
Even on the other side of the world of us, it's 10 at night, but still, that's
fine.
Doable.
Right, just
doable.
like 7 a.m. is doable, 10 p.m. is also doable for something too.
And depending on what part of the world you're in, worldwide announcements, like, you kind of got to expect, you get your time window. Like, people on the West Coast are just used to, like, oh yeah, it's 7 a.m.
Right.
We're just used to, oh, it's 9, it's 10, it's whatever. You know what I mean? Just because we're over here, like, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people get used to that. It's not as big of a deal as some might think if you're not in that spot.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm never to say this is not done, and I don't want to sit here and be doom and gloom, because I'm not. I'm still hopeful.
I'm not doom and
putting
gloom.
any
I'm
eggs
just
in any
reality.
baskets whatsoever. But it is possible for it to be tomorrow. And it looks like a great time. Like, it looks like a great time for it.
That's possible.
Like, if you look around.
It's also possible, Drip, that I could shit my pants. Forget my...
No, you said I just changed my pants.
I changed my underwear this morning. It's also possible that I could shit them. No, but Jeff says here in the chat, what if... by the way, hi, Jeff. Thanks for being on the show last week. It was a lot of fun. Jeff says, what if they had everything ready and just keep forgetting to schedule the event and are like, fuck, it's so late that we can't do it at all now. Yep. That's possible. It's possible, Jeff.
It's possible.
It's not possible. It's a joke.
So, yeah, that's another thing, too. Why would Nintendo suck the air out of the room with a hardware announcement when they're releasing a game?
We talked about that, but we can mention
we did talk about that. I do want to mention something too, because we watch other people's content, and again, I'm bringing up Kit and Krista again because at this point,
they're good. They're
listening to what they say. They worked there, from like basically the Wii up until most of the way through the Switch, so they know. But they also said actually about that, because that was one thing that I've been like, why would they do that? This doesn't make any sense. They kind of talked about that too, and they were like, this is kind of that game that can be cannibalized. This is like one of those, like, okay, it is a game, like it's already a re-release from a game that was on the Wii. It's been remade already. It's not like it's a big thing. This is a game that is for that fan base of those, like, those Donkey Kong people. They're buying this game no matter what's happening anymore. You know what I mean? They're buying it no matter what.
Yeah.
And this is one of those games that's going to be there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're only going to make, I mean, how many of the copies of this game do you think how many copies of this game do you think are going to be sold with or without an announcement of hardware tomorrow? Because I bet it's pretty close. I bet it's pretty close to the same, regardless. I don't think it's going to make or break this game's sales.
No, I don't think it'll hurt it at all. In fact, in the teaser trailer, it's not just going to be a B-roll montage. They're going to talk about some features. Like, there's another USB-C port on the top. There's LED rings around the sticks or whatever they're going to say, if there's something like that. Yeah. The chat button. And they're also going to mention backwards compatibility. So, like, the brightest bulbs in the pack are going to go, oh, well, it doesn't matter what games I buy right now. I can play them on the next console.
Well, yeah, we already know that. They made that very clear from
right. We're talking about the average Joe. That's who buys games, is the average Joe, not just our niche people.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure that they're going to mention that it's backwards compatible with Switch cartridges and online games or digital games that you've already bought. I'm sure they're going to mention that in this trailer whenever it does come out.
I think the sales will be unchanged.
Yeah, I don't think it would affect it. And this is a game that
but Nintendo won't risk. That's the point. Nintendo won't risk it. That's proof that this Direct not having this week, the announcement of the Switch 2 this week, or lack thereof, is proof of that Nintendo won't risk it. We all can assume.
We don't know yet.
Nintendo can assume. Know yet. Drip, we're transitioning now. I want you to get off of your hope for whatever reason you're holding on to for this.
We don't know.
Well, of course we don't know, but let's transition into the other direction where we're done. It's done. We called it. It's done. It's not happening this month. It's not going to happen tomorrow.
I'm not saying that. I'm not
Let's
going there.
play the game now. I'm asking you, please.
We're playing a game.
Because I played the game with you about how it still could come tomorrow, which you damn know it. Well, it's not. But
I think it might.
Stop it. Let's play the game now.
Okay, we're playing the game
of it's not coming tomorrow. Okay. How did it get this out of hand, man? How did everybody cling on to this as hard as they, because it's not the first time we've heard these. We've made fun of these people for a long time now. The people are just like, it's coming tomorrow, it's coming tomorrow, it's coming next week, it's coming in the week. Those people, the same people chiming in from 2 years ago, 4 years ago to now. Okay, how did they get everybody this time? How did we get here?
Well, I mean, it started with Nate the Hate. They dropped their podcast.
No, it started before Nate the Hate. It was started before Nate the Hate.
No, now I'm talking about this right here. This whole thing got the traction it has right now after that podcast was released.
I disagree. It's solidified. It's solidified when Nate the Hate, but the concrete was poured. People were filing in for this news, and once Nate the Hate said it, I believe that concrete was done. You could drive on the road.
I didn't see a whole lot before that. That's the thing. I didn't see a whole lot before that. But as soon as I saw that, then everybody else I saw coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, I've heard that too. I've heard that too. This is what's so crazy about it. Let's say it's not tomorrow. Every single person that we hear say this, that, like some have a better track record than others. Some people are actual in the know people. People know, some of these people actually know, they have information. This isn't just, I'm going to act like I have information and my sources have told, you know what I mean? This isn't those people. Like Nate's credibility, I will say, as long as I've been doing this and watching how things play out and how things go, I mean, his track record is pretty fucking good. And the way he talks about things and the way that he is about what he says, he doesn't get overly excited about things and try to like hype things up. He's very careful about what he says.
Like
is he right all the time? No.
What about that Zelda thing?
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Can we revisit
the thing?
I want to talk about it because
I do too.
This is the same.
This is that.
This is that.
Yes.
Well, it's happened again.
Yeah.
It's happened again. If you guys don't recall, this guy Nate the Hate, which everybody is saying is very reliable and credible, and
he wasn't the only one.
No, he
Jeff
wasn't the only
Grubb
one.
was another one saying
Jeff
he knew
Grubb, yep,
for sure.
Yep, I think it's actually, I'm probably mixing the two guys up in my mind because I don't really follow either one of those guys. Just get it from the internet and you. But yeah, so this happened with Twilight Princess and Links.
I think that was Jeff Grubb who was really saying
Wind
that.
Waker,
But there were a lot of
Princess.
people agreeing with it.
So back, what was it, 2 years ago now? Wind Waker, Twilight Princess.
Oh, it seems like it was just yesterday.
The HD ports for Wind Waker, Twilight Princess are still to this day rumored to come to Switch.
They're coming. They are. I'm allowed to talk about it now. 2025, baby.
There was a week where, like this week, where everybody was convinced it was coming. It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when.
Yeah.
And even Trip and I even made a bet over it, and he lost that bet because it never came. But that's what's happening right now. It was like, credible people, even credible people are saying it's happening this week, so of course it's happening. Guys, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, Drip, I know you're still holding on for whatever reason, but it's literally
that's
9
why I'm holding on.
Wednesday. It's not happening.
So many people have said this is happening. It's not just the fucking Samus Hunt. Like the people that we sit here and
I know.
Yeah. Like it's not just those people who it usually is.
Yeah.
We've got people from all over. The credible journalists are saying, yes, this is happening. It's happening. It's this day. There's people saying that normally don't chime in on these types of things saying it. That's why I am. Okay, here's the thing though. Here's the thing that I'm just very confused about. Because either lots of people have this information and know it to be true because they have whatever inside information, inside track on this and have the proof, or everybody has just thrown caution to the wind and just said, fuck it, we're just going to believe it because we're just going to believe it. Because everybody's so in on this. And that's what I find so, like, it's just kind of strange. It's very eerie that it's like the whole internet is just in agreement. It's like, oh yeah, it's happening tomorrow.
Well,
I'll tell you what.
I think a lot of the big reason why people are believing is because like mid-level people, I would consider us like low level. We're not quite on that mid-level yet, but
we're low.
We're like mid-level people are going, I have sources.
Dude, we are gutter trash Nintendo. That's what we are. We are.
People are like,
and I love it.
People are like, who have like, let's say 140,000 subscribers are saying that they have sources. Okay. They're not naming the sources because that'd be a bad journalist is to name your sources. But here's the thing. They're not journalists. They're just YouTubers, and they're saying that they got sources, and then
maybe they do. We don't know.
Let me talk. And then credible people like Jeff Grubb and the other people, the likes, are saying Nate the Hate. They're saying that they also have reason to believe. So it's a combination of like, well, we kind of heard it from Jipper and G, but like, fuck those guys. But then we heard it from mid-level YouTuber, and now we're hearing it from Jeff Grubb. Nate the Hate. It's happening. So I think it's kind of what caused this.
But I'm not worried about those people. I'm not worried about the people who hear it from us, who hear it from them, who hear it from them, and then say, okay, cool. I'm not worried about consumer Joe Blow. I'm wondering why the Kit and Kristas, everybody, every single person that I watch a video is like, yeah, this is happening. This is it.
We discussed this during when you and I were setting up for the show. I admit that I could be wrong about this, but the way I interpreted what Kit and Krista were talking about in their latest show was not that they thought it was coming this week. It's that they can see the likelihood of why
Did
it
you
could
watch
come
all of it?
this week.
Because I
didn't.
I feel like they were, especially towards the end, they were all in on it. They were all in.
Well, and I not that I was all in on it, but I also, bit the bullet and was heavily preparing for tomorrow to be the day where I make lots of YouTube videos of various different channels about this thing. I was preparing myself for it because as much as I last week said I am dead set on March because that's what I said, I still believe that. But I had to be prepared that this could possibly happen tomorrow or this week at some point, and I was, because everybody was saying it. But back to the point at hand here. Everybody was so in this
It's weird.
It's
right?
just weird. Like
it was eerie. I was thinking about it last night. Like
we've all been
every single channel. It's like they've stopped saying if they're just like on Thursday when it's happening. I'm like, that's fucking weird that everybody is just like, what do they know? Like, what does everybody know that we don't know?
I want to know these sources because they're wrong again. Mid-level YouTubers.
That's the thing. It's not even people who have had the sources. It's just the people who report on this stuff. They are also just like, and it's usually channels that I see that I'm like, they're usually pretty careful about what they say. Like, we don't really know this. Like, everybody's just like, it's Thursday. It's Thursday. There's no question. It's Thursday. It's happening. Like, what is the thing?
And this is me.
What is the thing that we are missing?
This is me on my phone, or computer screen. I'm making a face for audio people. I'm sorry, but I'm just like, okay, you think we've been doing this since 2021, and the conversation predates the Drip G podcast about the Switch to Switch Pro.
It does.
It predates our show, but we've been doing the show already for 4 years, and it's like, why suddenly is this the week that people are completely convinced of? And that's what I've yet to get an answer to that. My only guess is what I said to you a second ago, is that the low level people were kind of buying in a little bit, the mid level people saying they have sources all of a sudden, and then the top level people who have sources are confirming that. And it's like, okay, well then it must be happening is what they were saying. What I was saying was, how can you be so sure, everybody? Is this really going to happen? And for me, Drip, I have a couple of things to say. It's almost like they had a game to announce first and they need to talk about that. It's almost like the inauguration was next week plus a holiday, MLK Day. It's almost like it was never going to be January at all, and probably not February either. It's almost like they already said a month, which was March, a long time ago. They didn't say it was coming that month, but they said a month, and that should tell you something. And that most likely was the month from the start. And they like I said last week, they picked a day. They had picked a day a long time ago, and it probably was that month that they said already. I'm not surprised it wasn't announced tomorrow or today, whatever, this week.
We don't know yet.
I shouldn't be surprised that the internet thought it was going to be this week.
Now, hold on.
I'm not done. I'm surprised that people took the bait as hard as they did. That's my set. That's what I wanted to say.
I agree. But I want to caution you as well, because you are taking the bait the other way really hard. You're saying, nope. This ain't happening tomorrow. It's done.
It's more just a joke at this point. I just want to be right about it.
Okay, well.
I just really want to be right about it. Okay. Everybody's saying it's January.
I want to make sure you really weren't going that. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. If you're playing it, play it out.
It could be February. I don't know. But for real, though, I mean, come on. It makes the most sense, March. It just has.
If it's not tomorrow, then yes. We're not. Yeah. I don't think we're going to see it till they're like the bitter end. Yeah. I would love it to be tomorrow. Let me tell you another reason why I think it's March, too. Because we've heard from credible sources like Kit and Krista. Nintendo has been going back and forth about this. You remember this from their show? You said you watched the whole thing. You should know this. Yeah, they talk about that all the time when Nintendo gets in their own way.
Yeah. They've been going back and your camera went out, by the way.
Yeah, I see it.
They've been going back and forth on.
We're going dark for a minute.
That's fine. I can switch the camera over here to my screen, my dumb face. They've been going internally. Nintendo's been going back and forth for a little while now about when to release this thing and what they should do. But like, what do you remember that episode from Getting Crystal last week? What did you take from what they said about that?
Well, that's not the only time I've heard them talk about it. Even when they were there, just talking about how they get in their own way and they think about things so long and so hard that they end up just doing nothing and sitting on things and waiting and just worrying about things they really shouldn't be worried about and just do the damn thing. and then they end up making bad decisions. I mean, that's basically what they said that they watched.
Yeah.
That they've watched happen.
Yeah.
In real time. So I mean, I and you know as well as I do that they're terrified, absolutely terrified to put this thing out because of what could happen.
Yeah.
Not that it's gonna happen. We don't know. We don't know that people are going to be confused and not know what it is or think it's just a different version of a Switch OLED or whatever. Their marketing looks like it's just going to have a big ass 2 on it, which is probably smart.
Yeah.
But they're still scared. They're still worried about this, because this first showing and this next couple months, if this is tomorrow and then whatever we see going forward, like this is the most important part of all of it. And if they fumble this, they fumbled the next 5, 6, who knows how many years.
Drip, and it just surprises me. It shouldn't, because from what I understand about Nintendo, from people inside the company or just people who have good insight, it just surprised me that Nintendo is still this way. Now, like it's very imperative that the Switch 2's launch and release go smoothly, and that's why this thing's been delayed the way it has been, and that's why the third-party support is going to be hard right on day one, because they want this thing to be as successful as possible. It just surprises me that this company, Nintendo, can be so scared when the answer to this to the thing that they're scared about, the answer is so simple. What they're about to do is, we presume, make the thing a little bit better, actually probably a lot better than the original one, to catch back up, not only to catch back up, but to just get with the times. The Switch as it is right now is not with the times. It's behind the times. Just catch back up to the times and get this thing running where third-party games from the past that can't run on the original Switch and future ones for the next few years can run on this thing. It's not just about the power, because people are like, I don't care. I don't want power in my next Switch. It doesn't matter to me. It does, because the games coming out the last 5 years and the next games for the next 10 years, the next games forever coming out, are going to be too powerful that they can't play the games on the system. So it's not about you wanting better graphics, 4K 60. It's about just the game can freaking run.
Getting the game in general.
Just getting the game to run.
Camera's back, by the way.
Okay. Hi, welcome back.
Hi. Hey. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it's the fact that they can't be left behind. Yeah, and I do see somebody ask in the chat here, should you pre-order it. There's not going to be anything wrong with it.
No, it's exactly.
It won't have issues like that. And if it does, they'll fix it. It'll be software. It'll be software, like a patch. It won't be anything. Won't be crazy. Definitely get it. That's the thing, though. That's another thing we should probably touch on just a little bit here. They are this whole waiting thing has been so they can have enough to actually put out into the market to maybe make it so these things aren't scalped. These things are getting fucking scalped.
Oh, they're definitely gonna get scalped.
There's no way. There's absolutely no way that they can make it. Think about that number. Think about what that number would have to be. Just so they like.
What's a normal number? Give me a normal number.
God, I don't know. How many units do you think
like
they?
5,000 like normal is 5,000? That sounds too small.
No, that's way too small.
I don't know. What's a normal number for a launch of a system? It's not enough. I'll tell you that much. It's never enough.
I mean, for something like this,
10,000?
Jesus, way more.
I literally have no idea what's a normal number for a launch of a system, or just like a new batch.
50?
Like what about the like how many OLEDs do they have at the start?
My God, I had those numbers. I did have those numbers.
Yeah, I'm sure we talked about them before,
I had
too.
the Switch number. Yeah, we talked about it on here. I had those numbers of what they had as far as the Switch, the actual launch Switch, what they had at launch made, because they didn't have nearly enough.
No.
They didn't have nearly enough. Because, you didn't get a Switch, right?
No, I didn't. No.
Actually, neither did I. Because I couldn't get one. No. I ended up having to buy, I had to buy a bundle from those assholes at GameStop that I had to pay. I basically paid like $500 to get the Switch, a case, a set of headphones that I don't think I've ever used, the Breath of the Wild Collector's Edition book, which actually that was nice. I actually am glad that I have that. But they didn't have nearly enough, and I didn't get to buy that until May. Like May, maybe, and they were still hard to get at that point. Yeah. So then I think the number would have to be something astronomical for that to not happen. That's still going to happen.
It's not about the number of consoles. It's about, because there's always somebody with a computer who can scalp. It's about the execution and the infrastructure of how they sell these systems online. They're just not, we don't have the infrastructure online. Any of these retailers the solution doesn't exist. Some people have remedies that maybe work, but for most part, it doesn't work. Like these things are going to get scalped no matter what. But back on track here, what we were talking about before that.
Oh, I don't even know, man. We've gone everywhere in this podcast. I feel like we've gone so many places.
Yeah, I guess.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Give me a percentage. If we got a 50-50 shot for tomorrow, 75-25. Where are you at? Where are you at as far as percentage-wise for an actual announcement tomorrow? And if you think it's a higher percentage than not, give me a time. Well,
let me tell you something. Before 8:30 Eastern, that already passed, that deadline is passed, I was 50-50. I really was like, oh, that 8:30 sounds like that's possible, especially because the whole banner thing that I shit my pants over last week, like the whole banner thing, that was...
No, you didn't, actually. You didn't.
Yeah, I
you
didn't.
put on new pants and didn't
exactly.
shit your pants.
That was the 8:30, one of the 8:30 tweets that we were talking about. So I'm like, that people are, it goes in line to what people are saying, and fool me once, shame on me. Fool me 497,000 times, shame on who? I don't know.
2021, man. Since 2021, been being fooled.
Before 8:30 Eastern, I was 50-50. I'm like, it could still happen tomorrow.
Now that's a T-shirt.
We've now left the 8:30 time slot, the deadline, and I'm way down. I mean, we're at we're sub 15%. Like we're very. I called it already, Drip. The AP has called it. The election, it's over. Nintendo's not putting this thing out in January, dude. I'm telling you, it's not happening. I don't know why you think it still could possibly. I mean, again, I have a 10% chance that it's still, that's high, that it can happen. 10% chance you get the Switch 2 drops tomorrow. Yeah, that's 10% more than the day before. Let me tell you, but it's still very, very low. And in reality, it's probably much lower than that. Like if this was like basketball odds and win a championship, my team is about 2% chance, 1% chance. This is like a 1% chance thing tomorrow gets announced. Like I said, for all my reasons earlier a minute ago, I feel like when they said March, I know that's right before the end of the start of Q2 of this year. I know that's why they said March 31st, but I'm telling you, they already made up their mind because they knew there were going to be discussions, which there had been, extensive ones. They knew there was going to be back and forth. They knew there was going to be more delays than they expected. So they were not going to aim short just to loot and just to push back again. Internally, this thing was always March. I feel that in my bones. Now that this week, everybody said that it was happening and now it hasn't, and it probably won't for the rest of the week. Now that deadline is passed, it just solidifies my feelings about this whole situation, that it was never this month. It was never tomorrow. It was always March. I don't know when in March.
What is your percentage?
I'm giving it 10, which is very generous. Yeah.
Well, Jeeb, I am going to go the other way, the exact opposite way, and I'm going to still say we have a 90% chance of seeing this bad boy tomorrow. I think it's still coming. I think they don't give a fuck about hyping this thing up tonight. I think they already know. Everybody knows what a Switch is. All we got to do is put the 2 in front of them. We're going to show it to them tomorrow morning. The internet is going to completely break. And we're going to be talking about this thing all day tomorrow and for the foreseeable future. Tomorrow is the day, Jeep. Tomorrow is the day where we finally get to see the Switch 2. You're welcome.
Do you have time for an after show tonight?
I do.
So we're going to wrap up this show as far as the recording portion. But those of you in the live stream, don't go anywhere. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk to you directly, answer your questions. You guys have been stalking a lot tonight. We appreciate it. We'll get to your stuff. Don't go anywhere. As far as the recording of this episode that we do live, we're going to wrap it up. I will say this. If there is an announcement tomorrow, whether, a drip is availability is questionable, but I will at least be here and maybe have a guest tomorrow. If there's something,
like I said, I just can't do it at 8.
I know.
If we can go a little later, I'm here.
I know. We'll plan it all out, but when we can. But for now, guys, I just want to let you guys know in the chat right now who are hanging out. Don't go anywhere. We're still talking to you in a minute. But tomorrow, if there's something announced, this channel's live, no doubt. Tomorrow night, this channel's live. And if it's Friday, this channel's live. If it's Sunday, this channel's live. I don't care. I'll do a show during the Eagles game. I don't care. If the Switch shoe gets dropped, Switch shoe gets dropped, I'm going with fuck the Eagles. We're doing it.
Wow! Holy shit!
Listen, it's my life now, so we're doing it. I don't care. We'll stream during Eagles game. But anyway, for those of you listening on the audio platforms, oh hey, Drip, before we go, just to mention for a lot of people in the new who are new tonight listening to the show, please make sure to drop on our Discord. We have a nice Discord server. The link is in our description of this podcast. Check it out, join it, talk to us in there, as well as.
Subscribe to the channel.
Subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. We're very, very close. In fact, if every person in this chat was new and not subscribed, we'd reach our 1,000 subscriber goal, and we need that. So please subscribe if you haven't done so already.
We're close.
But yeah, guys, we're gonna wrap up the show for now. Those of you in the stream, stick around. Those of you listening on audio platforms or on YouTube, we'll see you guys next week.
Later.
Nintendo, every single show.